Welcome to the WDW Reflections Podcast. Here, we'd love to talk about the Walt Disney World Resort, the way we remember it, how it's changed, and why we still enjoy visiting the most magical place on Earth. So come with us on a podcast journey as we reflect on the WDW Reflections Podcast. Each week, one of our hosts bring with them a question to ask the other two guys. Those two hosts don't know the question ahead of recording and must answer those questions on the spot. So this week, Tony is going to take the wheel of what's your favorite. And Tony, what you got for us? You have something, a tough question for us this week?
Let's see if it's tough for you guys. This is one I believe we haven't covered yet, but I was wondering, what's your favorite? Do you prefer to stand in line all day for a parade, or you prefer to stand in line for the fireworks show? Which one of those two do you think is more worth waiting for? What's your favorite? While you guys are thinking about that, I'll mention that for me, I would have to say it's I have to think about it for a second, but I have to say it's the fireworks. I think for me, those are much more rewarding. I have reasons why I am not that keen on standing there forever for a parade, but that's just a teaser. So why don't we go on to you guys? Ron, I'm looking at you first. So how about you?
Sure. I'm a fan of both. Absolutely a fan of both. Standing in line, I'm not a fan of at all. But if I'm going to stand in line, if I'm going to, and if you're going to get a good spot, you're going to have to camp out for a minute at either. With the parades being during the day, I'm more apt and more willing to camp out for the fireworks because it doesn't interrupt the day as much. It's more at the end of the day, and so that's why I choose the fireworks. I like both of them very much. But I'd camp out for the fireworks more so than the parade.
That sounds right. What about you, Dewey?
All right. So you guys know my kids are a little bit older. We see, my son is now almost 19. My daughter is almost 15.
Wow.
So
this happened.
Yeah, tell me about it. So honestly, it's probably been a few years since we've really stood in line for a parade. Now, if you were to ask me this 10 years ago, I may have said parade, because especially my daughter, she loved the parades. And I remember, having her on my shoulders or whatever, and, she's waving at princesses and stuff. But, here's the stickler. It also may have changed my answer if the nighttime parade still existed. Oh. So if we still had Main Street Electrical Parade, or my favorite
Spectrum
Magic. Holy smokes, how do I forget Spectrum Magic? So I love Spectrum Magic. And so if that still existed, I would probably have picked parade, because Spectrum Magic was so very good. And not to say Main Street Electrical Parade is not good or was not good, but unfortunately, neither of those exist in Walt Disney World anymore. And not really, I'm not a huge daytime parade guy. I don't even know what time the 3 o'clock parade is, but the nighttime parades were something spectacular. So if they were still there, I may be leaning towards parade. But since they're not, and I'm not a daytime parade guy, I'm going to have to go with fireworks. And again, Wishes, probably my all-time favorite fireworks, at least at the Magic Kingdom. Happily Ever After was pretty good, not as good as Wishes. And Enchanted, I have not seen or will not see. I won't watch it online until, I don't want to spoil it or ruin it. So the only thing I know about Enchantment is the name, and I won't know anything about it until I get to experience it in real life. But I would probably go fireworks just because the nighttime parades are gone. So Tony, fireworks. I'm going fireworks.
You know, what's funny is that until you guys were speaking, I kind of forgot that there were nighttime parades. I was thinking about the, I'm going to say it, the drudgery of standing out there in the sunshine for watching those things. I know that we used to try to avoid those daytime parades as much as possible. We would use that time to go on the rides because that's when they would be empty. They would, as soon as the line started forming for the parade, we'd say, okay, let's get to the other side of the park now and get to those rides now because it's going to be madness later. So I wasn't a big fan of the daytime parades, as you say, although I will say, being that it's Disney, it's a spectacle. If you walk by and you see it, you have to look at it. It's beautiful looking. It's something fun. But
you guys are kind of amazing me though.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm not a fan of parades out in the real world, if you will, because it becomes a bunch of advertisement. But Disney does a parade.
They do
really, really good.
They do.
And so I still, even though my kids are just as grown and kind of looking forward to Nyla getting to experience this, I get to relive it again. But the parades are they still draw me in really well.
Look, now I'm not saying I don't enjoy the parades. Now, I mean, look, we've talked about it in past episodes. My favorite, all-time favorite daytime parade was actually from my first trip. It was in 1985, and it was the Mickey Street Party Parade, and I still enjoy that music. But you know, I mean, and not to be the glass half empty guy again, but honestly, I don't feel like the parades of today even compare to the parades from 10, 20 years ago. Disney wrote original music for their parades, and no offense, but the parades that come around nowadays is just using IP music. For the most part, they're throwing out, Frozen music or whatever. Now, I haven't seen the cavalcades. I don't know what music they use for those, but the original music that they wrote for the parades, for like that Mickey Street Party was, thank you, Mickey, thank you, Donald, that whole thing. I'm not going to sing it because we'll lose all our listeners. But it was really good stuff. And if I want to listen to, and that's I haven't seen them, so I'm not going to complain. But if I were to complain, that would be my complaint with the new shows, the Harmonious and Enchantment, is that it's just IP music, and it's just You Got a Friend in Me from Toy Story, and whatever from Moana.
But I will say, like you mentioned before about the Main Street Electrical Parade, they actually included that music in there. However, it was done in that hoedown style, which was totally different and went in with the pageant itself. So it created even though you might be listening and go, oh yeah, that's a Very Merry Hun Birthday. You didn't realize that until it's running around in your head. It wasn't specifically, a whole new world or something blaring at you. So I kind of see what you mean. But speaking of parades, I mean, the Main Street Electrical Parade, which I got to actually see at Disneyland when I was there, however many years ago, as well as SpectroMagic. Those were really great. Those for me are actually worth sticking around waiting for. But because you said they're nighttime parades, I think that makes a bit of a difference. It's cooler in the park. You've done everything you're going to do, so it's good to stand around. Although I will say, there's always that moment in you that you're like, okay, let me get out of here before the rest of the crowd is going to go, or I've got a few hours to stick around. I'm just going to stick around the park till everybody's gone and then leave, which is fun also.
Do you remember back in the good old days with the nighttime parades, they would actually show it twice? So the 9 p.m. we would be on rides, like you were saying during the parades, Tony.
Yeah.
You could skip that one and go do rides, and then after the fireworks, they would do either the Main Street Electrical Parade or SpectroMagic again at 11 p.m. And that one, the parade route wasn't as crowded, and you could enjoy the parade. Like you said, it was cooler at night and stuff. I really miss those nighttime
Yeah,
parades. That
yeah.
was kind of for me, like the heyday or the golden age of Walt Disney World, when you could see those nighttime parades.
It was the
So,
nightcap to the day.
Yes.
yes,
definitely.
absolutely. And your feet are so tired that you don't, you like sitting on the curb for a little bit and watching the parade. So
Well, I'd love to hear what our audience thinks out there. Which would you prefer?
yes, what is your favorite out there, listeners? What is your favorite between standing and watching a parade or standing and watching the nighttime fireworks spectaculars? What is your favorite? We want to know.
Listen to the complete show on your favorite podcast streamer. Follow us on social media at WDW Reflections Podcast. See you real soon.